Hello friends, happy Tuesday. It's time for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and I am so happy to be back doing my Tuesday Live at 5s. Now, if you missed my live launch party last week, it's not too late. It is posted on my YouTube channel. It also lives here on my Facebook page under the videos tab, so you can catch that. But this is my first regular Live at 5 in almost a month. It has been a long time and a long, slow recovery from COVID. So I am happy to be back. You'll still hear it in my voice a little bit. It's not 100%. I'm still coughing, and I apologize right now if I have to cough during this video. But I certainly am heading in the right direction. And it's a good thing, because a week from Friday, my husband and I leave for the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Norway. We are so excited, and I can't even tell you how glad I'm going to be to get on that ship and just relax. We are taking it totally low key. I think we've only got 2 excursions planned. Just taking it easy and going to hang out with some of my Stampin' Up! Friends and my husband, who I barely see half the time. So I am excited to be able to go on that trip, but I'm more excited to be here with you today. So we are all about new catalog product, because the new annual catalog has gone live, and I am all about the Bright and Beautiful suite right from the beginning of the catalog. It's the first suite shown in the new annual, and I thought what a perfect one to start with. It's all about celebrating and bright, happy colors. So hang in with me today. We're going to make 3 cards. I've got 2 sort of standard cards, one with a little bit of a twist, and then a fun fold. I've got a couple other samples to share with you. I'm going to show you all the product in the suite. All right. Okay, let me pull up my video and see who is joining me here. Let's see. There we go. Hi, Jill. It is good to be back. Thank you for the welcome back. Yeah, it was kind of a rough go for a while, but I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to share some new product with you. So I'm going to stop chit-chatting and flip the camera, and we are going to get right to it. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if I remember how to do this. It's been a while. There we go. Okay. There it is, the new catalog in all its glory. I can actually show you the inside of the catalog now that it has gone live. Okay, so the Bright and Beautiful suite is on pages 14 and 15. So it's the very first suite once you get past all of the sort of introductory stuff in the catalog. And don't ignore that introductory stuff. There's some really helpful information, like information on prepaid Paper Pumpkin subscriptions, how to find our kits on the online store, a little bit of information about some of the products we carry, and of course this beautiful layout that highlights some new and current beloved colors. So let's, speaking of new colors, take a look at this suite. So this suite features all of our new or returning colors that are part of the core family color refresh. So in case you've been living under a rock or are new to Stampin' Up every once in a while, 5 years or so, refreshes its core color families. The thing that attracted me most to Stampin' Up! When I first discovered it was color coordination, and the fact that I didn't have to run all over town to try to find coordinating ribbon to go with my cardstock, which went with my DSP, which went with my my embellishment. So I love the fact that it was all in one place and that I knew everything would match. And so Stampin' Up! Refreshes their color palette, their color families every 5 years or so, and this year is one of them. So the colors in this designer series paper are all new colors or returning in colors that have come back to become part of our core color families. So that for me was a huge selling point right away. I just love the fact that we have all these new colors to play with. But honestly, who doesn't love balloons, right? Balloons are perfect for pretty much every celebration for birthdays, congratulations, baby showers, weddings, you name it, balloons have a place. So I am going to show you some projects that I've created. We're going to make 3, and I'll show you just how fantastic this suite is. So let me get this out of the way and show you the products in real life. So of course the center point or centerpiece of any suite is the bundle. So we've got the stamp set with some fantastic balloons and streamers and confetti. We've got a little tassel, the string for our balloons, and some great sentiments. And then of course we've got our coordinating dies. Now the dies have some open dies that cut out the stamped balloons, but we also have dies that cut out balloons that don't necessarily fit with the stamps, which is great because you can get different sizes of balloons just like you would in a balloon bouquet. We've got a die that cuts confetti. Gotta love that. A tassel die. This one cuts the stamped tassel that's in the stamp set. A cute, cute tag, which I'll show you on one of the samples I've got. And then this die right here is the one that sold me on this set of dies. That is the fringe die. And I love fringe for all kinds of projects. And the fact that I can just run this through my die cutting machine and have a perfect fringe, perfectly spaced, makes me really happy, because cutting fringe with scissors, as you probably know if you've tried it, is a little bit tedious. So love that die. It is going to see lots and lots of use. It already has in my studio. So that's the bundle. And then, of course, we've got coordinating products. So here is that beautiful DSP. So one side of the DSP is quite neutral. It's not meant to be for any particular occasion. We've got washes. So there's your Blueberry Burst, Azure Afternoon, Misty Moonlight, Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock, Lemon Lime Twist, Bubble Bath, Fresh Freesia, Berry Burst. I have just a little piece of this paper left. I've used it on several projects already. More Berry Burst, and then our Lemon Lolly. It's when we turn the paper over that we see all of the colors used together on various sheets. So here we have a rainbow stripe. We've got bubbles. This is a Berry Burst sort of ombre look. A diagonal rainbow. That's the piece that I hardly have any left. We've got some triangles. Love this. Bubble Bath Bubbles. Is that not fantastic? We've got a herringbone, some swirls in the Lemon Lime Twist, some scallops, stars, confetti, and more stars. So honestly, you can't go wrong with this paper. There is something for every occasion. And as I said, I've used a ton of it already. So that is the DSP. And then we also have specialty acetate in this suite. Fantastic for making shaker cards, but I'm going to show you how we can use acetate as our card base to spice up just a regular card and take it from, average to wow. So the specialty acetate in this suite has 3 12 by 12 sheets. Now, as you can see, I don't have much of this one left. I've used a lot of it. So we have, excuse me, a confetti pattern. This one is kind of streamers. And this is a slightly more subdued confetti pattern. And the cool thing about this acetate is that it's gold on one side, but when we flip it over and use the reverse side, we have silver. So it works with both, depending on which metallic you prefer. Okay, so that is the specialty acetate. I'm going to set that out of the way. And then I wanted to showcase, these are not displayed with the suite in the catalog, but they absolutely coordinate. Let me just bring back a piece of this DSP and you'll see what I mean. Just see how perfect these little, what are they called? They're called iridescent shaker circles, and they are so fun. They're so sparkly, and they coordinate perfectly with this paper. So if you're wanting to make shaker cards, this is your perfect shaker filling. Now I'm going to show you a shaker card towards the end of the video here that doesn't use these because I didn't have them when I was making this shaker card, but man, am I going to get lots of use out of these when I make shaker cards with this DSP. So I just wanted to show you those as well as another coordinating product that doesn't necessarily logically coordinate because it doesn't show it that way in the catalog. All right, enough yip-yapping. Hi, Linda, welcome. We are going to get to some stamping. So the first card we're going to make is this Pretty in Pink celebration card, and this could be a birthday. I actually did this as a congratulations. I think this would be an amazing, congratulations, you're having a baby girl card. I think it'd just be so sweet. So let's get on it, and I will show you how to put this one together. Pull out all my bits and pieces here, and as we go, I'm going to show you some even more new products. All right, so we're going to start with a bubble bath background. So this is just 5 1/4 by 4. Okay, it's that beautiful, soft baby pink that we have been missing in our color palette for quite some time. And hi, Deb, you made it. I've got some bubble bath ink and this little confetti stamp from the stamp set. So I'm going to start just stamping along the top and bottom edge of my bubble bath piece here. I'm just kind of rotating my stamp as I go because I don't want it to look all matchy-matchy and all my confetti going the same direction. So we're gonna just stamp all the way across the top here. And I'm just doing tone on tone. So this is Bubble Bath ink on Bubble Bath cardstock. I just wanted to add some subtle texture to my background. I don't even know how well that's going to show up on the video because it's so pale. All right, so that is our background. On top of that, we are going to layer some Bubble Bath bubbles. So this is that awesome pattern from the DSP. This is cut to 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then I have a piece of Berry Burst cardstock that is 2 5/8 by 5 1/4. And we're going to layer that behind our DSP just to make it pop against the light background. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive here and pop it on. Just about like that. There we go. Now, let's make sure those ends align. That's better. And then I'm going to put a bit of glue on my cardstock, and we're going to add this to our background panel here. So whenever I am adding layers, I like to use my grid paper as a guide to help me get my pieces straight. If you are someone who struggles to, you know, have your pieces straight on your cards, grid paper is your best friend. I'm telling you. All right. Then that is going to get layered onto a piece of Berry Burst cardstock that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Now, before we do that, we're going to add a little bit of this gorgeous new ribbon. So this ribbon comes in a trio pack. You get the Bubble Bath, Lemon Lime Twist, and Azure Afternoon. It's 5 yards of each in the pack. And it is absolutely gorgeous ribbon. It has this sort of silver metallic thread through both sides. Okay, it gives a little bit of a sparkle and shimmer, and the ribbon itself is very, very soft and supple and ties beautifully. You're going to see that in a few minutes when I tie a bow. So we're going to start by just taking a glue dot here, press the end of our ribbon into a glue dot, and we're going to run that. Whoop, didn't pick up my glue dot. Let's try that again. My glue dot's really like the backing paper on this roll, apparently. So I'm going to stick one end of my ribbon to the back of my card. Yeah, Deb, it is beautiful ribbon. I think this is probably going to become one of my go-tos. I love soft, pretty, shimmery ribbon on projects. And I love that there's such a diverse color palette in this pack. We get the Bubble Bath, which is a really pretty subtle, and then we have the Azure Afternoon and the Lemon Lime Twist, which are nice and bright. Okay, so there we go. Is it Lemon Lime Twist? Yeah, I think it is. I was going to say it was Lemon Lolly, but oh, it might be Lemon Lolly. I can see it on my shelf, but I can't see it close enough. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add our Berry Burst background, or background panel. So we'll go ahead and add some more adhesive here. Whoop, went too fast with my seal. Don't want to do that. Seal is super strong adhesive, and sometimes it pulls the layers of your cardstock apart. So you want to be gentle and go slow, which I sometimes forget to do. All right, we're going to go ahead and layer this onto our card base. Our card base is a piece of thick basic white cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and fold that in half along our score line. Yeah, there's a lot of list making and checking in my house happening right now. Not just with projects to order, but with all of the things I have to do before I leave for my trip. I honestly need to take a week off work before I leave. I'm already taking an unpaid week to go. But I could kind of use another one to get everything done that I need to do. All right, so there we go. Now let's work on our focal image. So here I have a circle that is cut from using the Stylish Shape dies. This is the largest circle die from that set. And again, I cut it from more of that DSP. It's the one that has the triangles on the one side and this sort of Berry Burst / Fresh Freesia wash. It kind of works with both. It's a little bit darker, but it coordinates with some of the bubbles in the paper. So it kind of pulls both. And I just want to put this so that the wash is kind of going horizontally. You could do it vertically as well. I just think it looks better horizontally. And I'm going to take this sentiment. It's an arced sentiment. It says, let's get our celebration on. And we are going to stamp that in Berry Burst ink. So let me just get this out of the way. And we'll pull in our stamp pad here. I love stamping with fresh ink pads. Anybody else? It makes me happy. Nice, fresh, juicy ink. There we go. Okay. And then we are going to add some balloons. Now, before I put these balloons on, I want to highlight the fact that they are gorgeous, shimmery, sparkly balloons. So I'm going to bring in the paper pack that this is from. This is a new specialty paper in the catalog. It's called Soft Shimmer Specialty Paper. And if you liked our fine shimmer paper from the mini catalog, you were going to love this. So I was kind of mourning that paper. I loved that paper so much. In fact, I have not actually had the heart to put it in my retired product box yet. But this new paper is going to allow me to say goodbye. So here is the bubble bath. Look at the shimmer and shine on this paper. So that's what I cut the lighter balloons out of. And then here is the berry burst. So sparkly. And then we have Pretty Peacock, Night of Navy, and Lost Lagoon. So look at that beautiful color palette in this pack. And all of these colors coordinate with the DSP. So if you are looking, like I said, not all of these products get pictured in the catalog with these suites. But there are so many other coordinating products that work so beautifully. And this is one. So those little shaker circles and this gorgeous fine shimmer paper is, they both coordinate absolutely perfectly with the DSP in this suite. So that I wanted to point out because it is easy to miss in the catalog. All of the specialty papers are kind of hard to see. They're not pictured especially well. So we're going to bring in our balloons, and I'm going to just arrange the 3 darker balloons where I want them to go. Okay, I'm not actually going to glue them on just yet, but I'm just going to kind of place them where I'm going to want them, because then we're going to go ahead and stamp the string for our balloons before we glue them down. So I'm using the stamp that has the string, and I'm using my Bubble Bath ink again, and I'm just going to go ahead and stamp the strings. Now I'm going to alter the direction. So I'm just kind of flipping my stamp so that I don't get the exact same image every time. Because as we know, if you've ever had a bunch of balloons, especially in the wind, they certainly don't end up all nice and straight and going in the same direction. Okay, so now that I've got those on, I can go ahead and start gluing. So I'm going to start with this center one. It's going to get glued flat. So I'm going to stick this on. I'm not worrying about this connecting to the string because it's actually going to get hidden a little bit. So we're going to put that one there, and then we're going to pop up these 2. So we'll go 1 and 2. Let's pop that on. Oh, I'm missing comments here. Hi, Colleen. Hi, Julie. My last day of school, Jill, is not until June 29th. We go to the bitter end this year. So yeah, I will be good and ready to be done by the time we're actually done. All right, now these lighter balloons, you're going to see, I can't quite tuck that in because the dimensional is in the way, but that's okay. We can chop our balloon. No one will ever know. So we're going to chop that off. It's going to go right about there. Don't worry. We're going to cover up that cut edge in a minute. So I'm going to just add a little bit of seal here and tuck that in right about there. Okay, and then this guy is going to go in on this side. Same deal. I'm going to trim off a little bit of my balloon. We can do that because they're paper. Wouldn't want to cut off the end of a real balloon. You'd have a not very puffy balloon anymore. So we'll go ahead and add that one. And then this guy is going to get popped up in the middle, just like that. So I'm going to add a dimensional in between these guys. We'll just kind of tuck it in there. And I think I might add 1 mini. Where's my minis? Pop this guy on there. And then that is going to just sit right in the middle, just like that. Okay, so it's an easy way to build a bouquet of balloons and get the layering and the proportion just right. Okay, all right, so that is going to go on the front of my card with a couple more dimensionals because, you know, you can never have too much dimension, right? Unless you're trying to mail it, then you might have a problem. But, you know, I'm more of a ask forgiveness rather than permission kind of gal, so I just put them in the mail as is and hope they don't come back. And so far, I've been pretty lucky. All right, so we're going to center this on the front of our card, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to bring back this pretty ribbon and we're going to tie us a bow. So as I said, this ribbon is really easy to work with. It's quite sheer, meaning quite slippery. So you do need to be a little bit careful that your bow doesn't slide apart. So you want to pull your knot nice and tight. You will be able to get a really nice tight knot. And then just adjust the size of your loops until you're happy with what you got. There we go. That one wants to twist on me. Fix that up. Wow, you think it was new tying bows. Some days, I tell you. It's been a while. All right, so now I actually notched the ends on this ribbon on my bows. I just like the look of that. So I'm just going to fold it in half and cut at an angle, and I get that pretty notched end. By notching it, it also helps to stop fraying. Now, this ribbon doesn't fray too badly, but we have a couple in the new catalog that do fray. The in-color ribbons fray quite a bit, so you do want to trim your ends this way so that you don't get a lot of fraying. So I'm going to press the knot of my bow into a glue dot and just tuck my bow in right there where the ribbon meets the circle, okay? And then we're going to add some of my very favorite pastel adhesive back sequins. Now there is really good news. In the new catalog, we have a whole lot more colors of adhesive back sequins to choose from, which makes me very, very happy. These are awesome embellishments. Why? Well, because they're nice and flat. They're easy to mail. They're self-adhesive, so you just kind of plunk them on wherever you want them. And they're sparkly and shimmery. And what's not to like about that, right? So there we go. We've added our sequins and we're done. You like that one? Now I'll just quick show you the inside. I just stamped a congratulations sentiment. So I think this would be a perfect baby girl card, to be honest. And then a little bit more confetti along the bottom. And there we go. Done and done. Okay, so that is number one. Let's get that out of the way. I need to keep my berry bursting because I will need that for something else. But we'll get that out of the way. We'll set those cards aside and we're going to bring in our next project. All right, so our next project is this one. Oh, I see Joyce. I see Peggy. Hi, Elfie. Welcome. I know it's easy to get out of practice, out of habit, right? When I haven't been around for the last few weeks. But I'm back for a couple of weeks anyway before I leave for Norway. So this is our next project. So this uses some of that fabulous specialty acetate. So you can see we've got the gold confetti. We've used that as our card base, which kind of creates almost a floating look for our card. And it's just an easy way to take just kind of an average simple card up a notch or 5 by using that acetate for our base. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make this one. Let me pull in my acetate to start. So this acetate comes in a 12 by 12 sheet, as you saw earlier. So I did cut it down. This is 4 1/4 by 11. Okay, I trimmed 1/2 inch off of each end so that the confetti was still centered. If you cut an inch off one end, it's gonna be offset and it's gonna look a little bit funny. So cut a 1/2 inch off each end, and you've got it looks like it was meant to be that way. I have scored it. Now this is the tricky part about using acetate as your base. You do have to score it quite well, and the hardest part is folding it and getting a nice, crisp, clean fold. Because acetate, well, it's a little bit stiff, so we have to work harder at it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to just take my time with this. I'm going to start by lining up my edges. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful than I normally would when I'm folding just a cardboard or cardstock base. And I'm going to start in the middle. Okay, and I'm going to work my way out. And then while I'm still holding it down, I'm going to come in with my bone folder and I am going to burnish the heck out of this. Okay, you can almost hear it creasing as you do it. Okay, and by doing it that way, look at how nice and crisp that fold is. It stands up beautifully. Okay, you do really need to burnish it to get it to crease. All right, that's the only part that's tricky. And if you're not careful and take your time when you're aligning, it's easy for it to slip because it is so sheer or so slick. And then you get your card base isn't even. Okay, so just take your time when you're folding the acetate and you will be away to the races. So to construct our card front, I have a piece of that Fun DSP. This is the herringbone pattern. It is 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. Okay, and then I have a piece of lemon lime twist that is, well, let me tell you the measurements because I don't remember. 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. So I'm going to have a nice narrow little border all the way around. We're going to go ahead and glue that on. Gotta stop and take a sip of water. Yeah, isn't it fun? It decorates the inside of the card too, Deb, right? We see the confetti from both sides, which I just think it's just a fun way to change up a standard, pretty simple card. Like, honestly, the design of this card is nothing special, but the acetate really makes it seem special. And it's always nice to make people feel special without having to do a whole lot of extra effort. All right, so there we go. There is our card front. We're going to go ahead and glue this on. Now, when you are gluing on acetate, I'm just going to show you. I am using my seal to glue this. You are going to see the adhesive slightly, but because of the confetti pattern on here, unless you're actually looking for it, you're not going to notice it. So the person that's opening the card is not going to go, ooh, I can see the glue. Honestly, they're going to be focused on the fact that this is a fun card. You will see a little bit of the seal. You don't want to use liquid glue because that will really show. Okay, so tape or seal is your best bet. So I'm going to go ahead and add my seal, and I'm going to be careful because we are going to see this, right? So I'm going to try and keep it nice and straight and right along my edges, so it looks like, you know, I'm an expert adhesive applier. Just so that when, you know, you do see a little bit of that, it looks nice and neat and tidy. So now we're going to go ahead and center that on our acetate card base. So you do want to take your time and make sure this is straight because it will be visible from both sides. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to stamp some balloons. Finally, right? We're using a balloon stamp set. We haven't stamped a balloon yet. So I have some die cut balloons that I've just die cut using the coordinating dies. And we are going to start with our large balloon. I've just cut these from basic white cardstock. And I'm going to, oh, I'm getting all these notifications. There we go. Oh, stop. Okay, there we go. Hi, Karen. You missed the first card, but that's okay. You will be able to catch it on replay. Okay. All right. So I have a cat hair on my stamp. That will not go well. That would be thanks to Stella, who decided to park herself on my desk the other day. So you're going to notice this stamp has a ton of real estate. So we want to make sure that it is well inked. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp off. Now, when you're stamping off, you want to get a good quality first generation image so that you get a good quality second generation image. Okay. If you get a splotchy first generation image, your second generation is not going to look so great. Okay, but there we go. Nice, soft background. And then we're going to come in with this sort of detail stamp and add more confetti, full strength. So I'm just going to take and stamp that right on there, and we get that fun layered look. Okay, so that is one. We're going to do the same kind of thing with the smaller balloon. We'll start with our lemon lime twist. Now this one I actually did full strength because lemon lime twist is quite well, it's bright, but it's not super, super vibrant, shall we say. So I'm going to go ahead and just ink this and stamp it on my die cut. Okay. Now the best thing to do when you're stamping and die cutting is obviously stamp first and then die cut second. But just in the interest of time when doing videos, if I'm using photopolymer stamps, I tend to do my die cutting first so that we can focus on the stamping and sort of how to build our card. All right. So finally, we're going to use our Azure Afternoon. This one I am going to stamp off. So again, I've inked it. Good first generation image. And a nice second generation image. Okay, so that is the secret to stamping off and getting a nice looking image when you are using these really solid image stamps. Okay, all right, so now we're going to bring in our happy birthday stamp and stamp happy birthday on our large balloon. I love that we can make the sentiment part of the design with this set, so we don't have to add an extra banner or label. We can stamp right on our balloon, just like that. And then we're going to assemble. So let's get these out of the way. And we're just going to kind of lay these out where we want them. So I'm going to kind of tuck them in like that. So I have 3 balloons kind of coming up. So I like the way this is arranged, and I'm going to end up popping them all up anyway. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive here and a little bit of adhesive here. And then I'm going to lay this back on here and pick them both up. See that? Then I can flip it over, add my dimensionals to all 3, and my spacing will still be just right. So we'll add a couple of these guys. Maybe one more right up the top so it doesn't catch. And we'll get rid of our backings. And then we're going to center this again on our card front. Okay. And then instead of using a string on our balloon, I actually added this fun little tassel. I love this little tassel die cut. So I'm going to actually tuck this up and in. Okay. I'm not going to actually glue the bottom part. I'm just going to apply some glue to the top part of my tassel here, and it's going to stick to the back of my balloon as I tuck it up and in. Just like that. There we go. Isn't that cute? All right, we are going to add, well, we'll add the bling in a minute. We need to do the inside of our card because there is no place to write a greeting. So we are going to add same size panel as we did on the front. That is so that it's not visible, right? We're going to align those panels so that we don't see the inside one from the front of the card. So this again was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then this one is 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. Okay, so basic white lemon lime twist. And I didn't stamp anything, I don't think. Oh, yes, I did. Let's stamp. I don't think I put that balloon out, did I? Did I? Nope, but let's get it. The stamp set is right here. Our little bitty balloon. We're going to borrow the confetti stamp. Where did that one go? We'll get rid of this. Okay, so we're going to stamp our little balloons on the inside. Okay, so I'm using the same 3 shades of ink. So I'm going to start, I'm actually going to work in reverse order that I did earlier. Well, not quite reverse. We'll start with our lemon lime. So we'll do one here. And then I'm going to use my Azure Afternoon stamped off. Right about there. And then my Berry Burst. Just give this a quick Stampin' Off to get rid of the blue. And again, stamp it off and layer it. So there are my balloons. And then I'm going to come in with my, I think it's time for a celebration sentiment stamp. And we're going to stamp that in black right across our balloons here. There we go. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and layer that. So we're going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back side. And we're going to pop that onto our lemon lime twist layer. Just like that. Okay, now this is the only part of this that's kind of tricky. Once you've got your fold done, I'm going to flip this over and open it. So this is the front of my card. Okay, so when I open my card, let me just turn this back around. I want it to look like this, right? I want it to read like that. So I'm actually going to flip this over and I'm going to align this panel through the acetate with the panel on the front. That is to make sure that they line up when I go to close my card. Okay, so again, I'm going to be really careful and apply my adhesive. Let me take this off and put my adhesive on and then I'll line it up again. Okay, so there's my adhesive. Keeping in mind we want it to open like this, so we're going to flip this way. I'm going to line up my panels, make sure that they are perfectly aligned, and then close my card and burnish. And that way, when I look at it from the front, I don't see that back panel peeking through it all. Okay, so that's just a little tip for making sure those line up when you are doing this sort of floating style acetate card. All right, we need to add a little bit of bling to this one. Where is my bling? I don't know where my bling is. We'll use, I'm not gonna use the same ones because I don't know where they are. We'll add some more of these fabulous sequins just because they're handy and they work. So we'll go 1 and 2. Oops, come here you. And 3. There we go. Fun, 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 and easy. All right. The last one is a fun fold because, you know, it wouldn't be a video without me doing a fun fold, right? So here we go. This is just a super simple easel card. All right, opens like this and then stands up, and there is that fabulous fringe. So fun. So we're using the fringe as the ledge to catch our easel. Okay, this again, really easy, but a bit of a wow, especially for your friends who aren't card makers and don't know how easy easel cards are. So let me dump all my bits and pieces out here. And we're going to start constructing our card base. So I have just a regular 4 1/4 by 11 inch card base. Okay, 4 1/4 by 11. And then I have scored it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So 5 1/2 is our regular score line. I've added one extra score line halfway. Okay, so 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So I'm going to start just by folding it in half at the 5 1/2 inch score line. And we'll burnish that. Okay, then this 2 3/4 inch score line, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to fold it inwards. So we're kind of making a mountain because, well, an easel is essentially a mountain. So it's going to stand up like that. Okay, it folds flat, it's going in your envelope, and then pops up. Okay, so there's that. Next, we're going to add some of this fun Lemon Lolly striped DSP. Actually, those are kind of fun too, but I love the Lemon Lolly stripe. I love saying Lemon Lolly. It's the best color name ever. So these are cut to 2 1/2 by 4. All right, 2 panels, one for the top and one for the bottom. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive and stick those on down. So there's one. Just want a nice even border. There we go. And one on the bottom. Get those nicely aligned. Okay, so there is our card base. Done. So simple. All right, now we're going to work on our balloons. I'm going to set these other pieces aside for a minute. So I'm using essentially the same color palette as I did on the last card. Lemon Lime Twist, Azure Afternoon, and Berry Burst. And we're going to use that same confetti stamp, the one that adds the texture to the balloon, on each balloon. So we're doing tone-on-tone stamping again. I'll start with the Berry Burst just because that's what's already on the stamp. So we'll just ink that up. And I'm just going to stamp these. Balloons are just die cut from cardstock. Okay, so there's one. Let's stamp that off as best we can because I don't have my chamois over here to clean. Let's make sure that's mostly stamped off. And then we're going to add the Azure Afternoon. Okay, and then we'll stamp that one off. And we're going to do our Lemon Lime Twist. Get that one cleaned up. And there we go. That one's a little dark because it still had a hint of blue, but that's okay. All right, so that's it. Really simple. This is a super, super quick fun fold. Now, the only tricky part here is adhering these and ensuring that our card is still going to open. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple tips. Before I do that, we are going to add our tassels. So again, these are just die cut from the cardstock. So I'm going to add the Berry Burst one to my Lemon Lime balloon. So I'm just going to take a glue dot, press it onto the back of my balloon here, and then just press my tassel on there. Now you'll notice that my tassel, I'm covering part of it. That's because I don't want it to interfere. I don't want it to hang below the bottom of my card here because my easel won't stand up properly if I do. Okay, so there's that one. We're going to add the Lemon Lime tassel to our Azure Afternoon balloon. So I'm going to do the same thing. So glue dot on the back. And this one I can let hang a little bit longer because it's going to be up higher on the card. Okay, and then this guy is actually, the tassel is going to kind of hang off to the side. It's not actually going to be attached to the balloon, but nobody will notice that once we get this all assembled. All right, so I'm going to arrange my balloons here, and we're going to do something similar to what we did on the last card. So I'm going to add some adhesive to my Lemon Lime Twist balloon, and I want to make sure that my tassel doesn't hang below, right? So I'm going to stick this down, okay? Then I can pick this whole thing up and add my dimensionals. Now, I want to make sure that I'm not putting dimensionals above the fold line here, okay? So my balloons need to only stick to this bottom half of my card. Now, before I do that, I'm actually going to add my blue tassel here. Let me get rid of all my bits. There we go. And we're going to add a glue dot to this guy. And we're going to tuck it in. So it's kind of like it's hanging out from behind. Okay. It's kind of there, right? All right. So we're going to be super careful and apply our dimensionals just below the fold line. Okay. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to kind of position it approximately where I'm going to want it. And then I'm going to just be aware of where my fold line is. I'm going to put my dimensionals right across here. And then add a couple more. One there and one there. Okay, so that when I go to stick this down, I can look at it and see, oh, no dimensionals above the fold line. Can you see that? All right, so we're going to peel off our backings. And it is helpful, honestly, to kind of position this and then just double check to make sure that nothing is peeking up above the fold. Okay, if you have dimensionals up above, your card won't stand up as an easel. All right. Okay. Now, last step for the front is to do our sentiment banner. So I have here just a little strip of white cardstock. It is 1 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to bring back, I think it's time for a celebration. I'm so used to saying celebration. I'm stuck on that pronunciation. All right. So we're going to go ahead and stamp in black on our little strip here. And then I'm going to bring back, remember that little confetti stamp that we used on the first card? We're going to add that. Do I have my lemon lolly? Yes, I do. It's hiding. So I'm going to use, oh, this is Daffodil Delight. I grabbed the wrong color. Lemon lolly is the yellow we are using. So we're going to stamp just a little bit of confetti around our sentiment here. No naked sentiments, don't you know? And then we're going to go ahead and punch using our banner punch. So whenever I use this, I always like to slide my cardstock in and then I flip it over so that I can see to make sure that it is centered and straight. Okay, and then we punch. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other end. Slide it in, center it, and punch. Okay, and that gives us our little banner. All right, so that is going to get just stuck down with some seal or glue, whatever you've got handy, across our balloons. And I actually lined it up so that the like the points on my banner, the inner points, line up with the fold, and that just helps me get it straight. Okay, and I like that the banner kind of sits above the fold when it's standing up. All right, and then we need to. Oh, I'm missing my bling. I gotta find the bling for these. I can't remember what these are called. This is new bling, but I don't know where mine went. I thought I had it in one of these bags, but clearly I do not. So you'll have to pretend there's bling on this card. But we're not done because we need to create our mechanism for our easel to stand up. Okay, so we're starting with just a piece of basic white cardstock, 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and glue our fringe on, but we are going to glue it with dimensionals. Okay, so this is going to go, I've got it about 1 inch down from the top. All right, now I'm not actually going to glue this just yet. We're going to stamp first. This is always a good policy. Stamp and make sure that your stamping turns out before you commit to anything. Okay, all right, I have to remount my happy birthday because I took it off when I needed another block. So we got our happy birthday. We're going to stamp it in black on the inside of our card. Okay, and then I'm going to bring back that little confetti stamp again. And we'll add a little bit more confetti. Just like that. Okay, now to glue our fringe on, we want our fringe to be fringy, right? We want it to be able to kind of have some dimension and movement. So we're not going to put dimensionals all the way across here. We're just going to put minis across the top part. So I'm not sure how well you can see, but there is about 1/4 of an inch that is not cut, okay, with the fringe die. This piece started out 3/4 of an inch by 4. All right, and then I lined it up so I had about 1/4 of an inch showing at the edge of the die. So here's the die. So when I cut it, I put it through like that. Okay, that's just to make sure that I had some real estate so I could put my dimensionals on. So I'm just going to run a couple of minis. You could also certainly use the edge pieces of your sheet of dimensionals. So we're just going to run these, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them across the top edge here. And one more right at the side. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to peel off our backings. And this is going to get glued, as I said, about an inch down from the top. So if I use my grid paper, it's 4 squares down, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to start at one side and then come across and line up. Whoop, that's not straight. Come here. Line that up at the other side. Okay, and then we're going to add a little bit of seal or liquid glue, whichever makes you happy. And we're going to pop this inside our card. Just like that. And there we have our stopper for our easel. Okay. I'm really missing the bling on this one. It just doesn't look the same. Let's look at the one that actually has the bling on it because it's much better. I'm missing bling. I can't believe I made a card with no bling. We'll add that after the fact. All right, so there we go. That is our third card. Let me bring back all 3. So there are our projects for today. Now let me show you a couple more ideas that I did with this fun suite. First of all, this was one of the projects that I made during last week's live launch party. There's that magical fringe again. So this one, I cut my card base a little bit narrower so that the fringe could kind of overhang. I kind of like the look of that. And again, lots of color, lots of balloons, lots of fun. It's a fun congratulations card. And then here is a fun shaker card. So this is the one that I was referring to earlier. I didn't have those magical iridescent shaker circles when I made this card. So I used some now retired sequins, but these would look amazing because they will work so perfectly with the colors in this DSP. I did use some of that same specialty acetate for my window in my shaker card. You can see the confetti pattern on the acetate. Oh, and I should mention there is that tag. So this tag can be used as a tag, or if you cover up your little bump on the end or even trim it off, you have a really cute label with the confetti die cut out of it. So there is that one. Here, this is a fun pop-out card. This is the first one of these. I'm experimenting with this one. This will show up, this style of fun fold will show up in a video in the future, so don't worry. So this one, there's more of that ribbon. This is the Azure Afternoon, same pack as this pink bubble bath ribbon. But when we untie it, it opens up and whoa, pops up. Lots of fun. Now this can be done landscape, or you could actually do it portrait as well and rotate your sentiment. So this is a fun fold that will show up, not to fear, it'll come soon in a future video. And then one more, this was a swap card that I just received in the mail. Very similar to this, great minds think alike, except the card base isn't cut short. So it's a standard card base, added a little bit of DSP behind the fringe there, but very similar concept to this one. So there you go, some ideas using the Bright and Beautiful suite from the new Stampin' Up 2023-24 annual catalog. All right, girls, that is it for me. Thank you for joining me on my first Live at 5 back after COVID. I will be back next week, so same time, same station, and then I will be off for 1 week as I am cruising the Norwegian fjords, but I am going to try very hard to go live a couple of times from the ship and just kind of give you a little taste of what happens on an incentive trip, so they're lots of fun. All right? Thanks, everybody, for joining me. Have a great week, and I will see you next week for another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. Bye-bye-bye.